Hey everyone, it is Tony Will. I'm back with another amazing episode of Women In. Before I introduce you to my next guest, who is equally as amazing as this podcast, let me tell you what you're listening to. Women In is a podcast that features and celebrates amazing women from all walks of life and the people who uplift them. Each episode features incredible voices from my world, sharing stories that spark inspiration, challenge the status quo, and remind us that empowering women empowers everyone. This is a bold, curious, and uncensored space where disruption is welcome, forward thinking is encouraged, and change is the goal. I'm passionate about breaking down barriers, not just for us, but for the next generation. Whether our paths cross professionally or personally, these conversations matter. Let's dive in and celebrate the power of connection, growth, and the people who are shaping our world. And this woman is one of those who is shaping our world. Brigitta Dau is a powerful and inspiring speaker who helps people reconnect with their inner wisdom, overcome blocks, and create lives infused with purpose and creativity. Her work is a fusion of Reiki, life coaching, personal expression, and life experience delivered with a warmth, insight, and grounded experience. Brigitta is also a published author, crafter, a better life, creative approaches to personal growth, a knitting designer, and Etsy shop owner. She has guided in-person and virtual groups from intimate one-on-one sessions to 30 plus participants in conferences and retreats. She's also been featured in Reiki News Magazine and co-leads her own retreat, Crafting Your Magnetic Soul, where participants release internal blocks, tap into their intuition, and craft meaningful change through hands-on creativity. Whether she's leading a retreat, speaking on a stage, or guiding a room through transformation, her message is clear. Change is inevitable, growth is a choice. Brigitta invites her attendees to choose growth and create something beautiful in the process. Hello, my friend.
Hello. Wow.
How is it to hear that read out loud?
I know, it's so weird. Like, okay.
You are that. You're that badass.
I do. Oh, yeah. I guess I do. Yeah, okay.
Yes. All right. So I start with the same beyond. Well, I already asked you one question, but the where we really start is tell everyone how you and I came into each other's lives.
Yes, we met officially at Sober in the City in Arizona. I believe we were at a previous Sober in the City, and for some reason we just didn't, timing just didn't happen. So we were in Arizona and Sober in the City this year in May. And I came and watched your awesome workshop and participated. And I was like, oh, this lady gets it.
We hit it off, and you were because I'm a presenter who engages with the audience, and we were doing 1 year vision worksheets, and we were talking about some of the visions you had, and you're bringing some of those to life, which we'll talk about today. But I loved your energy. I loved what you brought, and you were just so supportive. That group was the first to hear my book, the portion of my book.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I read it out loud, and the manuscript is sitting right back here. So
fun times writing a book, so much fun.
You know a lot about that. So
it's a bit of work.
So we officially came into each other's lives this past May and have really just connected and hit it off. And I just love the work you're doing. So let's start with Reiki, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
So talk about. So pretend like nobody knows what Reiki is, and explain Reiki and why you're passionate about it and how you got into that space and the work you do there.
Yeah, for sure. So it's, I'll give you the textbook answer. So Reiki is a Japanese energy technique that supports healing. It supports stress reduction. Okay. So that's that. Now, beyond that, it also supports creativity. It supports releasing anything that's kind of lingering and hanging on. I liken it to, well, I just got back from a trip. So if you think about when you go to the airport and you look at you go to get your luggage, and there's that one bag that's still on the carousel that never got picked up.
Yeah.
It's just sitting there. It's like sometimes negative energy can be like that. Like you could have ended the relationship or quit the job or quit the habit, whatever it is, but there's still something that's kind of like, there, it's that luggage. It's that, and it's not going to remove itself.
Yeah.
Right? Someone needs to take that. And I always feel sad for that bag. So I'm like, oh,
where'd the bag go?
Someone out there doesn't have their bag. So that bag needs to go. So, and that's what Reiki is really good at. It's sort of like the dust buster. It's like comes in, clears out that crap, for lack of a better term, takes the luggage away, and then also creates that space for you to be creative with either healing or manifesting something, creating something. It quiets, it never shuts down, but it quiets down that internal critic. We have a lot of words for that: judgment, the things that hold us back. It could be negative thought patterns. It could be, just literally your inner critics and your thoughts that are holding you back. It creates it also softens things. So the reason I brought it, for example, to Sober in the City is people who've had to or chosen to give up substance, or if there's an addiction that they're dealing with, there's a lot of crunch around that. Reiki won't take it away from you. You still have to do the work. You got to show up, but it will soften it, and it will make you look the work that has to inevitably be done. Looking at the shadow stuff, looking at the stuff that's icky that you don't really want to look at, it makes it a little easier, more palatable. It's just a softer approach. It's still there. For me, I found that Reiki has sort of given me that blanket, that cozy of like, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
We got you. And I say we as in I don't know. That's just like that vibe of I'm held by the universe. I'm held. It's going to be okay. There's a warmth and support here.
And it's about it. Tell me if I'm wrong or right. I don't know. It's like a transference of energy. Like you're a practitioner. So if I'm the luggage, if I'm the proverbial luggage on the carousel, and you're working on me, it is through your energy coming into my energy and helping remove these blocks. Am I on the right track?
You're on the right track. It's not actually coming from me, but I am directing it. So my job as a Reiki practitioner, we go through training, and as Reiki master, you get more training in how to select what kind of energy. We use symbols, certain specific Japanese symbols that we use. And so it's just a visualizing, or sometimes just like air drawing it on the person or on the thing. And because you can Reiki space and land and animals and anything is possible. Corporations and you can do, like, for people going for surgeries, I'll send Reiki to the whole hospital and the staff. I want everybody feeling it. And so we tap into that, and then we direct it. And what I love, if remote Reiki is what I do primarily. I can do one-on-ones where you'll see people using their hands literally on people. With remote Reiki, I have the opportunity to work with multiple people. I don't have to be in the same room. I can send you Reiki through Zoom, because Reiki is energy. It's not bound by material obstacles. It's like sound waves. It's like the sun, really, quite honestly. It's coming in. I can close the curtains and not see the sun, or I can open them up and co-create.
Got it.
And so that's sort of what it is. It's saying there's this energy out there, and we all know of it. It's not, we've all experienced really positive energy. We've experienced really negative energy. So it's real. It's just a matter of being having the tools to direct it and say, this person's willing to receive.
Yes.
And now what that can look like can be a massive healing. It could be a release. Sometimes people, tears can happen, or you remember things that you've completely forgotten about. Ancestors, anything can happen. It can be a full release, or it can be ideas pop in. At that retreat that we were at, people were like, do you have something I can write in? Because I just got, like, they were writing a project, whatever, a workshop, whatever they came up with, an idea popped in. Because again, that dustbuster, for lack of a better term, or removing that luggage, it cleared the space. So now you're available. Yeah. It's a tool. Reiki's a huge tool, in my opinion, for making you available for what's your greatest good. It could be an idea, or it could be a release.
So what's interesting is when people are, and you and I've talked about this, like, I'm in the Midwest, you're in California, these things, these new age, however people label this stuff. They start on the East and the West Coast, and they slowly make themselves into the Midwest, and I've known about Reiki for years. But what I want to say is, for those who are like, oh, like you said, this is crunchy, or whatever, if you're having resistant thoughts, and I step back and think of it this way: when you walk into a room, you can feel the energy in a room.
Oh yeah.
A networking event, a funeral, anything. I mean, you can, I was coaching a client today and they're like, I can put my hand on the doorknob before I even walk in the door and I can tell what kind of energy I'm walking into in the house. So that's what we're talking about. It starts there. So it's
Yeah.
not this crunchy woo woo. It's real.
Yeah, it's absolutely real. And also, what I love about it is it being for this particular energy work, my opinion doesn't really matter. It keeps ego out of it, which I love. So whatever your experience is, you could say, "Oh my goodness, my throat was really like, oh, it was clearing and all these things," and I can think, "Oh well, because she needs to, use her voice more." Well, it could actually be something else completely different, and that actually throat is a really common thing because it's kind of the bottleneck. It's like this is a tight area, and so it could be so many things. I don't need to know. I just need to know that you receive the energy, and that if you're willing, you will take whatever information you're getting and use that for what's going to be best for you.
Yeah, and I love, okay, so talk about remote Reiki because
Yeah.
this is how you practice, other than
Yes.
when you're speaking at events and you're in the
Yeah.
space with, 'cause that's how you and I met. But
Yeah.
how talk about how that works. Like, and specifically talk about some of the workshops you do that you're offering while you're sharing all this. Because you could be listening to this anywhere. And I'm
Yeah.
always amazed when I look at where people listen to my podcast. It's all over the world. I'm like, huh, who would have thunk someone in wherever, Sri Lanka is listening to this? So,
Yeah. Yeah. I
so
know it's weird, right?
it
I
is.
love that.
It
I
is.
love that. Yeah. So the way the remote is it's again, it helps that a Reiki master, you have a little bit more, you have more access to, you just get more comfortable with it, I think is really, and so, and the more you do, the more comfortable you become with what the information that I'm getting through my body. But again, it's not coming, if it's coming from me, it's really not. It's coming from somewhere else and I'm channeling it. So that's step one. So therefore, it's a matter of how much can I contain? So that does come into me as a human. What am I comfortable with? How many people am I comfortable with really holding space for? So that's what I'm doing. I'm like a big, big space holder for the energy. And so, I say I can go up to, well, what's the space, and up at this point, it's been up to 50 people, I think, that I've worked with at a time. And I was quite comfortable and it was fine. I'm directing it to the entire group. So the energy is going to the group. One thing that's been interesting for me is as I've started working with bigger groups of people, how I send like literally a hand and thinking has grown. So it's like going out. And that happened before I started working with groups. So I had my own personal, private, my own Reiki meditation. And I saw for myself this expansion and I didn't really understand what it was. But again, I don't need to. Just be willing to receive and it'll make sense at some point. And now in reflection, I can say, oh, is that ever interesting? I was being prepared for, you got to get bigger with this, sister. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just like this. But so that's how that works. And so therefore, how we work with remote Reiki, for example, the classes that I teach, I have 2 classes that I teach once a month, Synergistic Saturday and Synergistic Sunday. There are people all over the place. I have one person in England. This time I led it from Hawaii. Everybody was on the mainland, or as far as England. And my job as a practitioner is to get you in a space where you can receive. So that's the work we do together, the talking, the language, the guided meditation I take you through. I choose to use a guided meditation. It just seems to work really well with people. Through that, we're already stepping away from the outside world a little bit. We're starting to let go of ego. We're starting to open up to the willingness that you have to have. You have to be willing to receive Reiki. I can't just blast it to people.
Yeah.
They have to be willing to receive it, which I love.
Word willingness. I like to underscore this and highlight it because a willingness for anything, if there's no openness to, and there are things in life we're not open to.
100%.
We don't have a willingness. So I like to emphasize that because you're 100% spot on.
Yeah.
Willing.
Yeah, and that's really my job. I just open people up and then it's holding space. I'm the space holder. And people receive however they receive. If it's a smaller group, yes, I'll get a sense of what's going on with people. I often get a physical sensation myself. I can tell you so many crazy stories. I can talk about that if you want. I'll see things, but again, I don't really try and interpret it because none of my business. It's just like, oh, okay, that's what's happening, fine. I'm just happy to see they're receiving Reiki, and Reiki's working its magic and doing its thing, and they're receiving. And if it's a bigger group, then obviously I'm not going to see individual stuff as much. But sometimes you never know. And then I seal it for the group as well. So we seal it in. And when I do work with people, energy, just like walking into a room, like you said, you can sense the energy. It's not an on-off switch. It's a dimmer.
Okay.
Our moon doesn't just go boom, full moon. It doesn't. It's a dimmer. It's a dimmer switch, right? It warms up and it slows down. Our cars accelerate and decelerate. And so the energy very much is working, and you're still, if you're willing, you're still receiving. Could be for days afterwards. You might get the information the next day. You might feel a clearing happen in your sleep. It can happen a lot of different ways. So that's why I quote unquote seal it in for everybody, but it doesn't mean it's over. It's just now they've kind of received.
Yeah.
Now it's up to you.
You mentioned something, and I think, and this hasn't come up in any of my interviews, but I do talk about it in coaching. So I would love to hear your take on it. You talked about shadow stuff, but shadow work. So people have no idea what shadow work is. How do you explain it?
That's the part of you. Mm-hmm. So it can be anything. I'll tell you, one of my areas that I would consider a shadow is when envy pops up. I don't feel it very often, but when it does, I know it's there because it's really uncomfortable. Yep. And my intent, usually my instinct is to just go, oh, no. And therefore, you just shove it out, right? Like, I don't want to look at you. I don't want to know about you. And that's where it becomes shadow. It becomes the darkness. And then anytime there's something creeping around in the darkness, it really honestly just wants to be seen.
Yes.
I do believe that all of us, well, 99.9% of us humans are good people. And even our worst stuff that we think is our really gross, creepy, awful stuff that we don't want to look at is there for a reason. It's just wanting to be seen and heard and ultimately just move through it. And if there's a lesson, great. If it just is like, I'm here, okay, you're here. You're not going to lead with that. I'm not going to lead with that uncomfortable stuff, but it's there. Mm-hmm. And so that's the shadow work to me. And it can be, some people can be mired in that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I've done some studying of shadow work because I find it really interesting. And maybe you've read this book, but The Dark Side of the Light Chasers by Debbie Ford.
Oh,
I don't know if you've read it or you
haven't read that. I've got to write that one down. That's another one. You know so many books, which I love. I'm like, oh yeah, that one I got to read that too.
I know. You want to get book overload, come to this library. But that book is really good. That's the first time when I got my coaching certification, that was one of the books that was recommended, and for a lot of different reasons. But it really taught me about what shadow work is, and it's probably, I think, you tell me, like, I think it's one of the hardest work to do. And the other thing I thought about it was often, what I learned from that book, oftentimes when we see something in someone else that we don't like, where it kind of might irritate us, it typically is something that we hold within us. And so that was part of I was like, and when I was thinking about some people that might irritate me, I'm like, oh, maybe I do have something.
Yeah.
And so it's hard work anyway. So if anyone's interested in knowing more about that, it is pretty fascinating work and understanding and just shining a light on it. That's how you move it out of the shadows into the light.
Yeah. And I have just had that happen to me recently. It was in Hawaii. I was hearing someone talk about my work, and I thought, and the way she described it was fine, but I was like, oh, that's not what? Like, I got all like up in my business about what's she saying? She knows me. Why would she say that? And I was like, and then there's this part of me that's like, that's really interesting. What's going on with you? Okay. And that's the opportunity. That's it. And I said, okay. And I thought it was, and I did think, am I envy? What is it? And I realized there was an opportunity there for me, because I thought, well, how do I describe her work?
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I don't know. I should go back and see. What does she say? Literally, what does she say when she describes herself, so that I can be impeccable with my word, at least in describing her? Because that's clearly, it set something off in me, a representation, gossip. I don't know what it was, but it did need to be addressed. And I could have just ignored it and kind of stewed on it in my mind and had like, those imaginary conversations we have in our head and all that crap.
Yep.
Waste of time. Or I could take a look at it and say, okay, is there an opportunity here for me? And I thought it was fascinating to just turn it back to myself and go, oh.
Exactly. Ooh, what's going on with me? Envy is a really good one too, because it actually indicates where we can see ourselves. We just don't know how to get there. So I've done this all the time. I used to say, and this one's funny. I would be like, oh, I'm not doing a podcast. Everyone's doing a podcast. And so that was my defensiveness. I just wasn't ready to say, oh, I want to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how. And so when I was ready, had a willingness to be an expert and find it. But then I'm like, it was pretty eye-opening, because I think envy can lead us to really great things if we're willing to say, oh, that's bringing something up that I probably want to do, and they're already doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that to me is the best side. Now, there's always also with that shadow work, there's the possibility it's bringing up something as feedback and saying, what that you don't want.
Yeah.
But I do want this.
Yes.
Right? So there's I want some of that, not all of it, but this is an opportunity to learn once again. It's like, how can this serve me? And how can this serve? It's just great feedback to me. Yeah. And really uncomfortable, but it's good.
It's so uncomfortable.
Okay, shadow work, fun times.
No. Fun times. Well, let's talk about something more fun, because you are, and actually, let me think about this as I think about all the interviews I've done. I think you're my first pro knitter on the podcast. Yes. And I am anything but a pro knitter. So let's talk about the work you're doing in this space. You've actually taught me a lot about your business and what you're doing, and Mother Thread and all that. So will you talk about the knitting world, your book, wrap that all, because crafting too, you're just amazing and all this stuff. So take it where you want.
All right, let's fly at it. Yes, I'm a serial crafter. So I like to play. I feel that play is grown-ups. We don't play enough. And I think sometimes some of that dark shadow work can be our inner children that are saying, I just want to have fun, and it's like we need to schedule time for that fun, for the play. Also, women, our circles, my knitting group is one of my most powerful groups of women that I know. And we are all different walks of life. Some are grandmas, some are, some I'm still working, all different stages in lives, everything you can think of. And that is to me, it's a joke, not joke, that we are the most important therapy group that meets once a week, because we hang out and we knit and we can talk about brownie recipes, politics, children, parents dying, kids this, you name it, all the things. Anything goes. And that group of women, again, community being such a big deal, I personally have shown up when a good friend of mine, there was a suicide, and I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to function in this today, but I'm going to my knitting class. Warning, I look like shit, but I'm going to be there.
Yep.
And they're like, you're welcome, and people show up, and that's really important. That is crucial, to have people like that around you. And so that happens to be with me with knitting. That's my number one. My grandmother taught me to knit for a play that I was doing, and then I didn't do it for a long time. Then I came back to it again as an adult, and I've had amazing teachers along the way. I now teach knitting. That's a whole level up when you start teaching something, because then you learn all the mistakes. I flat out say, don't do what I do what I say. I'm saying those words and I cringe, but it's true. This is a really bad habit I have. Don't do it.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But just listen to me.
Just listen. Do this instead. So, but knitting is such a great, and most crafting is like this, but we'll talk about knitting as my thing is, you're going to make mistakes. I teach classes specifically on how to fix your mistakes, because you're going to make mistakes. And I remember one person I worked with, she said, no, I got to get it right, though. I have to have it perfect. I was like, you're going to be restarting this project 15 million times. Just learn to fix the mistakes and move on. And we put in everything, lifelines. That's a thing. It's an actual technique you use. It's a thing you do so that when you have to rip your project back, you don't rip the whole thing out. It's like running a marathon. You're a runner, right? It's like if you fall down, you don't go back to the start line. You pick yourself up and you keep going. So there's lessons. There are real lessons in creativity. Also, if you want to go into, artwork, more like art journaling or painting, there's nothing like a blank canvas to completely freak you out. Talk about your inner critic coming up. It's the paints and the this and what do I have to do? It's got to be perfect. No, The whole point is to make a mess and to get, and with knitting again, it's just create something. You don't like it, you rip it out. Worst case scenario, you frog it. We call it frogging it. You rip it and you move on. You get to knit again.
What a great metaphor for life, too. I mean, making mistakes is one of my leadership pillars, and I talk about that. Like, that's where we grow the most because mistakes can be painful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And visible.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Public. It can be public.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, again, shadow, like, oh. But, and with knitting, I mean, I am, people tease me because I'm kind of the fix it and post. Again, don't do that. That's a bad habit. Don't do it. I say fix it now, don't fix it in post. But I am very good at fixing in post. I steal that from the acting world. But it is, there's mistakes in almost everything I've made.
Yeah. Do you see it like in your finished product? Like when you look at, I mean, tell me like your most proud knitting project that you've done. Like, and you look at, like, what would that be?
I have a couple of pieces. Like there's a cowl that I did, which is like a neck warmer it's only two colors, two yarns, but it looks like a sunset with a reindeer and trees. Oh. And it's amazing. It's gorgeous. It's really stunning. And there are mistakes all over it. And I can't see it because at a certain point I decide this is also when I'm teaching, how married are you to continuing to go? Are you willing to rip it back? Yeah. And the willingness to, with mistakes of, I might not be able to fix this. I might have to rip it back, but am I willing to try? Let's see. So it's all the things you need in life of, well, let's just see what happens, right? It's that fuck around and find out energy. It's let's see. If I can fix it, cool. And we will, again, in knitting class, we'll say, okay, here it is before picture. Everyone take the picture. I'm going to try it. Let's see what happens. Yeah. We're like, she's trying. Let's see. And so then she'll fix it or she won't. And sometimes, and you'll learn something. If you can fix it, you're like, holy hell, I just learned something.
Yeah.
Let's do a YouTube video or whatever, because fortunately YouTube has tons of support for anything you're wanting to do right now. So knitting is great for that. I don't remember what else so that piece, yes, there's mistakes. So the answer is, if I can see, if it's going to piss me off, if I'm always going to look at it and I'm going to know it's there, I have to change it.
Okay.
I have to rip it back. And everybody is different. I have a good friend of mine will always rip things back because her philosophy is, number one, I'll know it's there. Number two, I will never, when it's finished, think back to those extra 2 or 3 hours I spent ripping the project out. It's not going to cross my mind. I'm just going to admire my project.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I will not catalog and say, oh, it took this much time. That just, you don't think about it. It's like when you go surfing, I say that like I surf. I don't. But apparently surfers are like, they don't keep track of how many waves they missed. They just don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
They remember the ones that they had fun and the great wipeouts.
Yeah. That's so cool. Talk about Mother Thread.
So yes, the Mother Thread is a cowl that I created for a march that is coming up in next year. It's called the Great Mother March. Whitney Freya is the woman who's created that, and she is an artist and an art coach, force to be reckoned with. And she's created this women's march, but it's everybody's march, really. It's not just women. Men can march too. It's about reclaiming Mother Earth and about leveling up, basically, aligning with the creative force that is Mother Earth, the Great Mother March. And so I created a cowl for it. It's called the Great Mother Thread. And because I wanted to create an opportunity for people knitters love this sort of thing. We love knit-alongs. The Pussy Hat was a huge deal. Yeah. And that came out of LA, out of someone's store here in LA. And they were like, let's just make this hat. And I mean, the story is great. And it just swept, everybody got swept up by it, and it was beautiful. It became a symbol. So I thought, well, knitters love it. People are creative. And I wanted to, so when I designed it, I also wanted to showcase independent dyers. Because everyone can go on Amazon, everyone can go, and there's nothing wrong with buying bulky, big yarn, but there's something about the process of, there's animals involved, they shear the animals, then they do all this stuff with the wool, and then they dye it, and then it's just a beautiful process that, we don't really see a lot of. And I wanted to highlight the people who go through that process. And so when you buy yarn from someone who's hand dyed it, they've really spent time with this fiber. So to do that, you take from that person their magic, their mojo, and then knit something. So the cowl itself is actually quite simple, and I did that on purpose to show off the yarn. The simpler the pattern, in other words, the more boring, I will add that.
Sure.
It's tedious to make, but it looks fabulous afterwards when it's done because it shows off the yarn so beautifully.
Oh yeah. So if someone's interested in the that project and knitting the cowl and buying the pattern, where do they find that?
It's all over the place. It's on my website
Okay.
under the shop place. Also, I have an Etsy shop, Yarn Pig Craft, so you can get it there. You can get it on Ravelry. If people are knitters or crocheters or fiber artists, they will know what Ravelry is. It's like the go-to database of all things, and it's there too. That's the easiest probably for knitters to do that. And eventually, I will make some and sell them on my Etsy shop as well. I just have not had the chance because I've been knitting for Halloween.
Ooh,
Wait, I know.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, you're a busy lady because in addition to the workshops you teach, you're also a coach and a speaker and an author. So, what projects do you have coming up or what type of clients do you work with? Talk about your coaching, all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple different things coming up. So I do both virtual and in person. So I do have some spots for one-on-one coaching. Coaching I use, again, it's mostly coaching, but sometimes if there's energy stuff, I can include that too. I have an in-person retreat coming up. My dog, pardon me, is interrupting me. My dog is a terrier mix, and he wants to go out. So when the terrier mix,
Okay.
that's what we do. So
That's real life.
that's right. Pardon me. So, but it'll be faster and easier if I do it for all of us. There we go. So crafting your magnetic soul, we have an all-day event coming up in November. November 15th is the date, and it's an all-day women's retreat in Palos Verdes in person. We do crafting, we do meditation, we do movement. Palos Verdes, too, is such a beautiful location because it's on the cliff and you're looking out over the ocean. So it's great for release. We do a little bit of a release ritual, and then we do manifestation. Again, the ocean's right there. It's just a beautiful setting. So, and I co-lead that with a girlfriend. We've worked together for years and years and years on different things. So that's coming up. I have an ongoing monthly virtual class, Synergistic Saturday, Synergistic Sundays, where we do, again, there's a little bit of journaling, a little bit of movement, but it's mostly meditating, community, working. It's a great way for people to stay on top of themselves with checking in with themselves on a monthly basis. What are my goals? Where am I at? How am I doing? What do I want to create? What's changed? What hasn't changed? That's a great thing. I am writing a book with Peggy Cooney, who's another author who you and I both know from Sober in the City. Super excited about that. It's called Finding Your North Star. And so between the two of us, she's a social worker and I'm a coach, and we have very similar and different backgrounds. So we've come together to create this sort of a workbook on finding that North Star and having fun in creating a life where you're in alignment with it.
Yeah.
And I'm so super excited about that. And I have one other virtual event coming up in November as well, and that is with coaching and Reiki and journaling, and also for those people who want to try, instead of doing the written response with their journaling, to try sketching or mixed media or painting. I'm opening that aspect up to those people who are saying, well, I don't really journal, but I do like painting. Great. Then you can bring your paints to this virtual event, and that is happening also in November. And half of that, half of the proceeds to that are going to the Great Mother March for Whitney. So that's also a fundraiser for her, and that is also available. All this information is on my website.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about the creativity side.
Yeah.
So we met at Sober in the City, so it's not going to surprise anyone that both of us are sober.
We do drink. Yeah.
Yeah, we're both non-drinkers. That's where we came came to know one another.
Yeah.
So did the creativity, the artist, because you're such an artist, and you were an actress it dropped it a little bit in there, but you were an actress tour on television.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so was that part of your healing as you chose to remove alcohol from your life, that creativity, that side of it?
I think so. I think that acting for me, one of the reasons I succeeded with acting for as long as I did was because it was all consuming, which I do think at sometimes with some of these, sometimes you just have to be that narrow minded, and I was. And so when I walked away from that, it left a gaping hole. And I went through a very dark time of having no creative outlet. And so probably knitting was the first thing that kind of came around, and then giving myself permission to share that my mess, again, it's that taking that stuff that you're hiding and bringing it out, and other people, our stories pull other people in, and we don't know who we're affecting, we don't know who we're supporting by just sharing our stuff. And so it's the same thing with our creativity. So we bring it out and share it with people, and I realize there is a need, like, oh, this is a thing, people are looking for permission to play. And so with my certainly with alcohol, I actually found, for example, Whitney Freya, the woman who does this Great Mother March, I found her through Facebook doing an art class, and her whole thing is about healing with art. And now I don't necessarily follow her modality. I don't do exactly how she does it, but I found that, and that's what, in terms of my healing, I think that was the part of me that got sparked and said, hi, remember me?
Yeah.
And she needed a place to come out. And it was, I mean, even talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's it. That was the one, because it stirs something up inside of me of that was the part. And that's the softer, more playful, more willing, more imaginative, children make up things. Yeah. Anything's possible. And that's what acting was too. It's anything's possible. We're in a relationship, the camera's filming it. Who knows what could happen? Could be really interesting. That's why there's blooper reels. Because
people love the blooper reels.
They love the blooper. Anything could happen. So there's that I think to heal, you need to be able to. You just got to be willing to go through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know if that answered your question. I kind of went off on a tangent.
No, it totally. So you've talked about Whitney, but I want to talk about, and if you want to elaborate more on her, but she's a woman in your life that's had impact. But who are the other women that have played a role in the woman that sits before me today?
Oof, I know. I was thinking about that. That's a big one, isn't it?
It is.
It is. I have to mention Tara Bliss. Tara Bliss was my very first life coach. Mm. And I had followed her for a while, and she was in Australia. And her book is Party Girl's Guide to Bliss.
I need to read.
So, yes, I was like, okay. So there's the party girl aspect and big music, and so she's the one who introduced me to this even notion that you could be a life coach. I mean, this world I did not know of this. This was years ago, and so she kind of was the first step for, this is, in reflection, I can see acting served really a huge part of my life, and this is the purpose for that. And then this, getting into Pilates, and I can start to see all the dots connect, and I can get it. But it really was leading to this, to the coaching, to the work that I do now. So she was really my first step with that. I have to give her that credit. And then, other than Tara, and then I have to, in thinking about this, I have to say my girlfriends.
Yeah.
My peer group. Again, in my darkest times, I remember thinking, my friends, my women friends, do not put up with assholes. Mm. They just don't. They don't have time. They don't have the energy for it, and they will not support it. So there must be something halfway decent with me. Mm-hmm. That these women are still calling me or texting me or wanting to spend time with me. And I've said that, like, look at who wants to spend time with you, because it is interesting information.
It is.
And I thought, okay, then I'm not a total loser. I've got something to offer. And now I do look at because there, as we know, that saying is true. The expectation of your peer group has a great amount of control over you.
Yes,
really. It's very hard to exceed their it's very hard. You got to usually change your peer group if you want to
level up.
Yeah, and that does happen, but these women that I know I'm privileged to have in my life are amazing. And I never feel from any of them saying, oh, do you think that's not like, oh, that's too much for you? They're usually saying, wow, I didn't know you're doing that. Okay, tell me more. That's fantastic to have women around you who say, wow, that's fantastic. Like, tell me more. I want to hear more about that.
Exactly.
There's no competitiveness, nothing. Nothing but love and support for one another and curiosity.
Yeah, and this was you've been friends with these women before you were drinking or when you were a drinker?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
After. And I want to point that out because some people think that they have to upend their entire life if they want to remove substances, and that sometimes is not the case. If the relationships weren't built on alcohol, the likelihood that they can carry on beyond your identity shift is huge, and you're an example of that.
Yes, I've lost nobody pretty much. And it was interesting when I stopped drinking to see how few people actually drank.
Isn't that fascinating?
I was like, am I the one? So I'm like with a capital A right over here. Alcoholic. Like, is that what it was?
You would two of us together. Yeah, we would have been quite a dynamic duo.
Oh my gosh. But because everybody else is like, oh, you're not drinking. I mean, yeah, people were doing dry January. I wasn't. Why would I do that? What a terrible idea. Stupid. But again, I'd still meet them for coffee. Yeah. I wouldn't say, oh, well, I'm only going out with you if we go to happy hour. I'd say, oh, okay, we're doing coffee. All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Right? Because we have,
Yeah, that says a lot, though, and about just, again, not all women are in competition with one another. Women want to lift each other up, and that's part of why I wanted to do this podcast was to lift women up, regardless of gender. I have men on the podcast, too, because we all have important women in our lives. So how do you lift women up?
It's funny. I think I do that instinctively to some degree. There's a part of me, because I've been noticing that I also tend to create community without meaning to. I don't go into something saying, I'm going to create this, or I'm going to support this girl. But if it pops into my head that, oh, this is a great connection, you should know, you should reach out to this person, I'll just do it. I feel like that brings all of us up. We all, if the more expansive I am and the more people I can bring with me, the better it is for everybody, because I'm not good at everything. I need someone else who's good at something else. And I'm a big believer in, if a door opens for you, because doors don't just open. When for whatever magic has occurred or the hard work you put in, you've managed to get a door open. If you can, reach back and see who can you pull with you, because the doors don't just automatically open for people. And I think now more than ever, is that clear? And the world needs everybody on deck doing the best we can. And if a door opens, I'm really a big believer in that. And I've never thought to myself, it just occurred to me, I don't think I've ever had a moment where I've thought, oh, I really wish I hadn't done that for that person or said that or supported that person. I don't think there's a single time where I've thought that, ever.
Yeah. No, I mean, I share that exact same value. It's like, get in the elevator with me. We're going up together. And what I'm hearing is that abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. There's enough room for all of us women in whatever we're doing. Like, you and I are both coaches. We could sit there and be like, oh, we're both coaches. We're competing for the same client. No, we're not, because there's only one Brigitta, there's only one Tony, and we're going to resonate with different people, different skill sets, different everything. So I want to lift you up just as much as you want to lift me up. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think particularly in the world that you and I both connect on first, which was the alcohol-free world, I am a resource to people. And when you can be a resource to, and I don't mean like that I'm necessarily coaching people. I can say, I've just had this conversation recently, like there's these women who do this book club, check that out, all the things, and I wouldn't recommend that to everybody, but this particular person, that's perfect. For that person. And if I can say, just reach out, do that, everybody rises. And it just feels right to me to do that, to make I guess as corny as it is, we make the world a better place.
No, it's true.
But we do.
We need to some days, because some days this world gets dark.
Yeah, it does. And we can't get through it alone.
No.
We gotta be with community. And so I do think that, and the few times I've and it does happen. There are people who are out to get you, and there are people who will sabotage you, which is very hard for me. That's the other one. Envy and having other people sabotage just freaks me right. It's a weird energy for me. I'm just like, what is happening? But when you have a strong group of people around you, or you have this sense of, I know what's right within me, you can trust your instinct when that comes up.
Yeah.
So when it's a woman, particularly, it really throws me for a loop when there's a woman who is not of this mindset, and they exist.
Yeah.
And it always confuses the hell out of me, because I'm like, what's happening? And it takes me a bit of inner work there to figure out, oh, she's not on this team.
Right. Yep.
It's a different one. And now I have some tools that I can figure out how to navigate that in a way that doesn't make me feel bad. But it is because I can assure you, in my early 20s, and certainly as an actor, I couldn't tell that was happening. I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah.
I was very naive and just wanting to just be creative and do the thing. And doesn't everybody want to do that? And no, there are people out there. But being able to now own that and know my instrument, my body, and pick up on my intuition and just say, yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Okay. And try without judging. Try to maneuver around that. How do we work with that?
Yeah.
How do we work with that?
That's so true. It's such great wisdom. Okay, we could keep talking all day, but
We could talk all day long.
we could. You have provided so much great teachings to the audience. So if they're looking to look into your workshops, your book, your coaching, they want to use you as a resource for some of
Absolutely.
the things you're an expert in, where can they find you?
The easiest is my website. I think that's the easiest place, and it's my name, BrigittaDau.com. Nothing fancy. And pretty much everywhere else, if you're on Facebook, it's Brigitta Dau. Instagram, also Brigitta Dau Coaching. If you want to check out my knitting, I do have another Instagram feed, and it is Yarn Pig Crafts. It's Brigitta.YarnPigCrafts. So if you're looking and Brigitta comes up, you see my face, that's one. And then if you see another one with a pig, with like a little knit hat on, that's me too.
Oh,
Because I can sniff out yarn like a truffle pig. That's how I came up with that name. So Yarn Pig, and yeah, and I'm available here with you and all over the place. I guess the easiest is my website. Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you for coming on and teaching the audience all about Reiki and knitting and all these fabulous things that you do, and you just bring a beautiful energy to the podcast. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
My pleasure. If you all are looking to connect with me, I am not hard to find. The hockey side of my life is at kwings.com. And then everything else related to my conference, the book, the podcast, coaching is all at tonywill.com. And then I am on social media too, but only 3 platforms, Facebook and LinkedIn at Tony Lentini Will, and Instagram at I'm Tony Will. And until next time.